To the regular meeting of City Council for Monday, March 9th, 2026. The City of Dawson Creek acknowledges that we are privileged to live and work on Treaty 8 territory in the traditional home of the Cree, Danaze, Saulteaux, Sicanee, and Slavey First Nations. We value the Métis peoples that live and gather here. We commit to upholding the respectful relationships these nations have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future. Two delegations. 2.1, we have Paul Adams, Executive Director with BC Rural Health Network, in attendance via Teams regarding the BC Rural Health Network update. So, good morning, Paul. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Your Worship.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Perfect. Well, welcome this morning, and the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you, and good morning, Dawson Creek. So I've been asked to provide an update on activities of the network and give you an overview. We did send out our membership request, and with that request, we've been asking for additional donations. We, again, remain very active on the rural health scene, and especially in the north. We have been working diligently around issues that have been highlighted, unfortunately, yet again, with the events that happened in Tumblr and the impacts that has had in raising awareness around the lack of mental health resources, not only within the north, but within all rural and remote communities. Other work that we've been undertaking has been in around the ER closure situation. I have a regular quarterly meeting with Chiro Panessa and the executive of Northern Health. That work has led to some recent changes where we've seen now emergency room notices being provided on a consolidated website. We still view that as being a step, but not the complete solution. Obviously, closures are the problem. So we're working diligently on creating better team-based care practices throughout the north and throughout rural and remote BC. We see the need to have a more holistic approach to care and having teams that are adaptable within the lack of resources that currently exist. To that extent, we've also seen a significant shift in understanding of the challenges faced by families looking for assessment of their children, getting into early development funding situations where kids who are not assessed end up not receiving the teachers' aids and the supports they need both at home and in school. That work has led to the Northern Health team again coming forward and building some more resources and acknowledging that communities are underserved. An example of that would be Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. You have a traveling assessment team that comes into your community, but it is so over, the demand far outstrips the supply. So other communities are not able to access those traveling services from outside of your jurisdiction. So people are still forced to travel to Prince George. We have, I think, 33 kids up in Northern Rockies who are still unassessed and therefore are not receiving the appropriate aids in school. And travel and accommodation becomes a huge barrier for all rural and remote residents. So our advocacy is very much remains on creating avenues for providing travel and supports for people needing to leave their community for care. We have a variety of issues that are underway in regards to advocacy around the team-based care piece. There was a Carger agreement, which was a cooperative agreement between the BC Greens and the NDP. That has opened up a little bit of funding, which that agreement is now closed, but the funding was committed to. So there's been a $15 million pool of money that has been put into play to help stabilize and enhance community health centers. And these are true community health centers, not just in name alone, not operated by health authorities, but actually run by community for community. So those are the main key highlights. We're Grateful to have you as a member. We would be most grateful if there was any additional resources that you would be willing to provide to the network. And we continue to work with the few resources that we do have and continue to push forward for enhancing rural wellness.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Paul, for the information and update. I'll just open it up to council if there's any questions. No? I don't believe there's any questions. I mean, I wanted to, I guess, one, thank you for your efforts and your work. I've heard a bit of what you've done, but also just a bit of the update that you've given today. And, you know, you talk about mental health in rural areas, and it's a real issue, right, that we face. So anything we can do to help push that along is, you know, is huge for all rural areas. So, yeah, I guess, I mean, if I had any questions, I mean, like funding aspect, like what, is there other like municipalities around here that contribute, and what does that look like? And then my other part of that is, have you reached out to the Peace River Regional District at all? Because they're a government body that covers a lot of rural communities, so.
Yeah, so again, we haven't wanted to put stress and strain on small municipal members, you know, so it is really just an issue of our funding primarily has come from doing contract work. So whether that's research projects from universities, I have a contract right now with the Ministry of Health to take another look at how we have complaints around healthcare and the process involved, and that will that work is going to involve. Again, we drive our solutions from community information, from the lived experience of community members. So you will see over the next month, we're going to be reaching out to members within your community and across rural and remote for feedback onto the existing process of filing complaints within healthcare. We have a $5,000 donation that was just given to us by Northern Rockies, and they recognize that we're a strong independent voice that really doesn't bow to anyone. So we're able to speak, you know, speak truth to the problems that exist, and we're not beholden on any organization. So we don't have those traditional strings attached to us, where we're working with a professional body. We really are the lived experience voice of rural BC. Our monies are slim, but we're expanding. So, you know, we've been recognized as being a voice that is of significance, and we do get the ear from the Premier all the way down. I am stretched on my time availability, but I'm definitely interested in reaching out more and working with regional districts. And I haven't, to be honest, reached out directly to the Peace. So I should do more of that work. And I think as our funding stabilizes, we will do more of that work. Yeah. So it's always a matter of trying to stretch the dollar for us. But you know, we're all rural residents. We live, work, and play in rural BC. We all have an understanding of the challenges that others face. And even though we're unique as individual communities, there's a lot of common threads, and those are those low-hanging fruit commonalities where we seek to create change.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Paul. Councillor Earl has a question here. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Paul, for your presentation and the information. I know one thing I've occasionally been confused by is how I would, if somebody in the public were to ask me what the BC Rural Health Network is and does, I'd be, and by, you know, your website, it's you know, it seems to be part service provider as far as information goes, part you know, public awareness, as you said, kind of lobbying the government, a bit of a think tank with respect to doing research. So you guys touch a lot of bases, and I don't think it's easy to sum up, but I appreciate your presentation here today. With respect to the point you just made about reaching out to municipalities with respect to the complaint process. I guess to broaden that, we're oftentimes, as municipal governments, beholden to crown corporations at the provincial and federal level around how we collect and use data. And I'm wondering, from your end, what limitations you find with respect to that. And the second part, if you've got any thoughts on how we as municipalities can do a better job in how we collect data so it's useful, because there are a lot of public health indicators that don't necessarily pass through Northern Health that I'm sure would be useful for all of us in our work.
Yeah, so, data is a huge challenge from not only from, what is available, but what we're choosing to collect and what we're choosing not to collect. And part of our work around the reevaluation of primary care services, as well as looking further into the emergency room situation, is really that we're not capturing the information that's needed, and those who are capturing it, it often sits in silos, so it's very difficult to access from a public perspective. And housing is healthcare is one of the initiatives that we're quite heavily engaged in, which looks at people needing to move to Vancouver for extended stays and the cost out of pocket for them, and then trying to understand the number of people who are moving from across the province. We don't actually track that information in a reliable way. So if you don't understand the numbers, it becomes very difficult to make a evidence-based solution position to government. So we're working with health authorities in looking at how we can readdress the capturing of the appropriate information. Things like really from a consumer perspective, the patient satisfaction piece. We don't even look at, when somebody comes in, if they're happy with the services provided. We've got very little in the way of the same kind of requirements happening in reflection of the service provider's satisfaction levels, and outcomes become challenging to find. So although I can look on Vancouver Island through Vancouver Island Health, I can determine that if you live in Port Hardy, your life expectancy is 73. If you live in Victoria, your life expectancy is 82. So, that is a stark difference between those communities. And that is interesting information, but we then don't do the deep dive into the whys and understanding what the social determinants are that's driving that difference and what changes that we can make to systems. And so part of the primary health care reform piece is looking at what we call learning health systems, where the system is actually adapting to the data that's being collected. And if we're not choosing to collect that data, which is going to make a meaningful change in how we do business, then we're not going to be able to adapt the system to it. So that is part of the work we're undertaking right now. And we're doing that in conjunction with a variety of other organizations, including the Ministry of Health, but also the BC Association of Community Health Centres. And we'll hopefully be seeing more changes coming over the next 12 months. And we all recognize the challenge that we're facing as a province with the budget and the austerity measures which are being put into play. However, we're also costing ourselves a lot of money in that regard. We're pinching, we're cutting out such small pieces of the budget which have big impacts, whereas we're not focusing on the whole inefficiency of the system. And that the only way that we're ever going to reduce this massive and continuing to grow health budget is by making people well. And so that obviously is not an easy fix. And as you said, our organization is very broad. So we're trying to do a lot with a little. And I think that's necessary, though. We really bring attention to these very significant challenges within rural health, and through working with researchers, working directly with politicians, working with bureaucrats, and working with municipalities, UBCM, and others. We're able to bring a bright light of awareness and positive solution-focused change to healthcare in BC.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Thank you, Paul. I want to just thank you for presenting to us today and coming back and taking the time to share all the information, and thank you for the valuable work you do. This is something we'll deal with later on under Mayor's business. And just so you're aware, like, this council is very much about health, and it has been our whole term about how we can assist and help. But just so you're aware, we have a fairly smaller grant budget for this. So, but it is something that we'll deal with later on in the agenda today, and we'll let you know. So, but yeah, just thank you for taking the time this morning and continuing to do what you're doing. So, thank you.
We're most grateful, and again, thank you. And really, your membership is key. We need the voice to be strong, and by having municipalities like Dawson Creek with us, we're able to get the attention that rural needs. Yeah,
you're welcome. So, thank you. Enjoy your day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Paul.
I know.
All right, next 2.2, we have Kurt Peats, President, Greg Burgess, and Ken Guay, Directors of the Dawson Creek Sportsman Club, in attendance regarding a request for a $150,000 grant in 2027 city budget. So, morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning. You can just push your button on the mic, and then I will turn it on there. There you go. The floor is all yours.
Good morning. I spent all weekend getting ready for this presentation, and I woke up this morning and I couldn't do a thing with my hair. So if I'm a little bit off, but thank you for that sympathetic nod, Charlie. I appreciate that. I wanted to bring you a quick presentation in regards to the Dawson Creek Sportsman's Club. We have just crossed a major milestone with our indoor range. It's an 8-lane automated shooting range. I spent 5 years in Regina at the RCMP Training Academy as a firearms instructor. And this range blows that out of the water. This is amazing. What we're trying to do with the Dawson Creek Sportsman's Club is we're trying to teach the area in regards to safety and training in all aspects of the shooting sports, archery, rod, whatever it may be. We spent 1.7 million-ish on that indoor range. Very much thank you to various levels of government. But one of the things that was very interesting is that we went to NDIT. We got a significant grant from them. And whenever you get a grant, there is a lot of follow-up to make sure that the money is spent correctly, to make sure the money is spent where it's supposed to be spent. Good news, it was all spent correctly. It came in under budget and under time. So we appreciate the fact that it's taxpayer money that we're asking for. And we're not asking it for this year, but we're asking for it next year. One of the things that we found is that as the range continues to develop, the shotgun range was shut down due to changes in legislation. So now the shotgun range, we have enough land, and the value of the land that we have now, it's in compliance with all zoning issues, with PRRD, the regional district. We're in compliance with all bylaws, and the new proposed shotgun range is going to be all on the land that we already own. It's been surveyed. The nice thing about it is we have members of the club who are environmental engineers and will ensure that everything is done correctly, that there is going to be no hiccups all the way through the project. One of the values of this project is we are kind of the second biggest group in this South Peace area, sporting group. Soccer, with their group is a little bit bigger than ours, but we have about 1,000 members. Oh. So there's about 1,000 people who use the range at various times. About 50% come from Dawson Creek. About 50% come from the rural area. So we will be partnering with the regional district for 50% of the ask. We'll be partnering with Dawson Creek for about 50%, or 25%, I would say, and then the 50% would come from Northern Development. As we built the indoor range, which was fantastic, one of the things that was interesting is that the group that built the indoor range is present and are helping with the outdoor range. It's all done by volunteers. There's no, we don't ask for any money for pay. So the experience that they've gained from the indoor range is simply going to magnify our success on the outdoor range. The nice thing about the outdoor range is we had pretty significant community involvement with businesses, helping with the construction, donating. There is a lot of buy-in. This project is much bigger than the South Peats. We have Beaver Lodge and Spirit River. We have a lot of guys working in Dawson Creek area who come out there and shoot during the evenings. We have people from Edmonton who are coming out all the time in Grand Prairie. The range is being used a lot. And because it's being used a lot, we can see how this could fit into Dawson Creek with kind of another piece of the puzzle to attract professionals and to keep professionals here. That's kind of our goal. In regards to tourism, that's where the next Dawson Creek Sportsman's Club is having their annual gun show at the end of the month. We have 230-ish, 35 tables that kind of go up for sale, sold out. So it's sold out. That brings a lot of people in. That will probably bring about 40,000-ish to the government or to the club coffers. So that'll probably be about 40,000. We have about 100,000 that we'll be putting into the range. We have twice that in regards to equipment that's already present. We have to move equipment from the old range and bring it down to the new range. And once that equipment's at the new range, you know that anytime you move a little bit of dirt, it's a lot of money. And we have to move a lot of dirt in order to make the range safe and in order to make sure that we comply with the chief firearms officer and all their rules and regs. So we know how to do that. I just want to bring you just a quick update to say that the indoor range, we officially opened, grand opening on January 31st. It's being used just about every single day now. It'll be used again on Saturdays and Sundays once we get the horsepower into place, once we get our programming. The beautiful thing about this is an interdisciplinary sport where we have grandparents can bring their children out. We can have family shooting. It's a lot of fun all the way around. We also do a lot of partnerships with Fort St. John. We do a lot of partnerships, Chetwynd, Tumbler, the whole South Peace area comes out there. That's kind of why we're partnering with the PRRD as well, to say this is a real regional draw. It's not just to be paid for by one level. So it's coming along super well, and I'm going to let Greg kind of explain where we are now kind of in that process and what we hope to have accomplished by this fall.
Thank you. As Kurt said, we've had the property, which is 60 acres, professionally surveyed. Measurements have been put in place. We have proper distances for shot fall. And once the snow clear is gone and we have some funding in place, we will have the dirt moved probably within easy a month. And then the rest of the procedure will be moving the old equipment, trap fields, skeet fields, skeet houses and machines down to the new spot, as well as constructing a new 5-stand and a walk-around sporting clays course, which will all fit because we have the distance for shot fall. And my partner in Kelowna, who helped build Central Okanagan, is very good with maps, and he will lay out everything so that regardless of what you're participating in and all disciplines can shoot at the same time, it's a safe environment. So that's, you know, I built Central Okanagan. I can do this. I can do the range up here. We've got a lot of good people that are willing to help us, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to get this going.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, that's kind of where we're coming in to say it is really surprising how much technical experience is kind of in Dawson Creek, whether it's for design and facilitation of build. all that expertise and that skill set is here, and we're using every bit of it. The wonderful thing is that it's all volunteer, and I see that the club kind of did a major step forward. And as we do this major step forward, the critical mass is already there with the indoor range. And as it gets better, one of the really interesting things about the shotgun range is, do you remember when you watch people on TV pull, right? Off they go? Well, it's all voice activated. You bring a little speaker with you and you can say pull, and you can shoot by yourself because it's voice activated. And then there'll be a card swipe system that we don't have to have volunteers there. It's a preloaded card. You swipe and away you shoot. So we're trying to maximize everything that we get to ensure that we're not a financial burden on a club or anybody else. We want to make sure that it's self-sufficient, and that's kind of our goal. We just wanted to let you know that that's kind of where we are. We'll probably come back September-ish and make another presentation to catch the budget cycle for next year. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you both for coming today, all three of you actually, and presenting. So I'll open it up to council first here. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you to the delegation. It's good to see you, and congratulations on the success of the indoor range. I have been out to see it. It's really good work, and obviously anybody who's been out to Riley's Crossing knows what a gem it is in the region and what it offers as far as lifestyle. And yes, thank you for the presentation. So I guess first question, so you're going to be back for a more direct ask at budget cycle time. I was going to ask, when did you need an answer by? Was my first question. Secondly, have you secured a commitment from the PRRD? Are you in the same
boat.
trajectory?
One of the things is when we get a PRRD and municipal grant, NDIT
We'll give you
matches both
match,
of those. So we want to make sure that we can maximize the NDIT grant, and because we're only allowed to ask every second year. And so it's not a yearly thing. So we want to make sure we get our ducks in a row to make sure that when the ask is there, that everything is in compliance. We did make a presentation to PRRD. We're just waiting for a response. It's next week or the week after. I can't quite remember the date, but they'll be responding to us soon. We will also be going, just FYI, to Saddle Hills, because they have a lot of people in Saddle Hills come this way, and Saddle Hills is very receptive. We haven't made the presentation yet, but from the communications that we've had, they're very receptive. So we're trying to make this regional so that no one bears the burden alone.
And I think everybody on this side of the council table appreciates that sentiment. I will probably at some point have to check with staff, because I'm not sure what precedent there is for allocating capital budget to property we don't own. I guess it would technically be part of a grant, but I'm assuming coming out of a capital budget because the nature of the work. And yeah, I mean, to the point you made, and it's one I wholeheartedly agree with, but it's one that I guess for residents of Dawson Creek has been a constant source of frustration, because we pay about 90% of the cost of recreation and cultural services in the city, and our residents use about 75% of them. The rest are used by people from Saddle Hills and the RD. So making the case that we should all be chipping in equitably for these services so nobody's bearing a disproportionate amount of the cost is something that falls upon our ears very, very welcomingly.
One of the things that just wanted to say thank you. This spring, I guess last spring, we had the BC Wildlife Federation in town. Yeah. We asked for $5,000, and that was like just about 300 people who came in for the weekend. And it was quite an amazing economic boom as well. And that's going to be our goal, is to, because it is such a world-class facility, we want to make sure that we host all sorts of shotgun events, archery events, pistol events. Eventually, we have, like I said, we have such a good facility, there's no reason why we couldn't have Olympic shooting. There's none. There's no reason why we can't really have a very high level. We can do it. We're just kind of starting. And facilities is everything. When you take a look at Olympic shooting, there's a lot of people who shoot in a garage. There's a lot of people who shoot kind of outside, but now we're kind of really, we're in a position to say, let's really maximize what we have. So that's kind of where we're going to go in the future.
I think that's great. I know when I was out there to check out the shooting room, initially there was a notion that there's perhaps an opportunity as well for the range to secure some contracts for training with like RCMP, Rangers, stuff like that. Is that still a possibility?
100%. That's kind of our goal. We have not only the indoor range, but the clubhouse is there. So what happens is normally you shoot, you have your annual qualifications, and then you have some kind of in-class training, update first aid, update whatever the case may be. It's very helpful to have a facility. You can have both of those in the same facility so that you don't have to keep on running around as a group to find a school room, to find a meeting room, then to find the range, to have it all in one location. That's kind of what my goal is going to be here this summer. Talk to Grand Prairie City Police, RCMP, Fisheries, Conservation, all the feds, all the government agencies that use firearms as part of their duties. They're all looking for a certified place to have qualification, and this is the place.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Melissa, you wanted to?
Through your worship, I just wanted to confirm, to clarify with council in that with the confirmation, because this is an asset that we don't own, it wouldn't be a capital expense on our books, and you'd be looking at the operating side. So I just wanted to make sure that council understood that.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? No? I just, I want to thank you for coming in to present, but also thank the board and the members of the club that put in all that effort to create something very unique in our area, but in Western Canada that is, a leading, a leading facility, right? So it's amazing for our region to have something like that that close to us. Yes. And what it does. And over the years, I see all of us have on this side, see the commitment that comes from that club and what it's done for all those events, like whether it's the club, it's, the facility out there, or, the show that's coming up, or last year, the Wildlife Federation. All of that is just, it's just great for our community. It's great for our youth, right? It's all of it. So, just real thank you. And it's clear that you both have a passion for this, and that as well is appreciated. So just, thank you very much. And we look forward to welcoming you back in the fall. So.
Perfect. Oh, thank you for your time. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next 2023-2026 strategic priority chart. So no updates there. Any questions? Kevin, anything from you? No? Okay. Next late items. I don't believe there's any late items. No. 5, new councillor business. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just reporting last February 24, 2026, I attended the Dawson Creek Public Library, so they're good there, so they're happy. And of course, February 28, 2026, I attended the South Peace Historical Society AGM. So maybe I think the city staff received their reports. Okay. So, but if in case not, I will just provide. So that's it.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I just want to report back to council and staff here. Since last council meeting I've attended, I've been at multiple Cenotaph committee meetings. We're progressing nicely there. Things are still moving forward with planning and design, etc., reaching out to regional partners, moving forward nicely on the Cenotaph. Also met up with Step Up and Ride as the liaison with Devin. Had some great discussions furthering our possible transition if we decide to go down that road. It's been some great conversations. 2 weekends ago, I attended the most recent NCLGA meeting, discussing executive resolutions that will be brought forward to the NCLGA AGM and hopefully taken on to UBCM. I would like to state that Two of the executive resolutions came directly from our discussions about the needs on education and teachers and those working on letters of permission. Also attended the Growing the North conference about 3 weeks ago. Was a great conference. I imagine your worship mentioned it previously as well, but great discussions about major project development across the north, workforce shortages, housing pressures, and infrastructure investments. Also had a chance to sit down, I forget their name, in discussions about rail needs in our area. Great conversation, great initial meeting that we were able to be at. And then the leadership table was, 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I missed a meeting, so just bringing up a lot in the last month. But I just want to say what a great job Devin did presenting to the leadership table there. He did a phenomenal job representing our needs for water and answering some very tough questions with our local neighbors, but he really represented us well, and I just wanted to commend him for it. Great job, staff. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. I did attend the last KPAC board meeting, and their staff should have provided the updated documents to our staff. I did want to, however, highlight on their behalf that this upcoming Saturday is the first ever CreekCon Northern Fan Expo taking place at KPAC. It's an inaugural event. It'll have workshops, costumes, vendors, all kind of stuff like that. And in the evening, that is going to be followed up by the Moonlit Aurora Gala Fantasy Ball. So I think there are tickets still available for both. I'd encourage everybody to reach out to it. This is one of those, an inaugural event we want to see go well so we can continue to do it and help diversify the cultural and recreational offerings within the community.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. And
what are you going as?
I might.
I've got a gymnastics competition in St. Albert.
Oh, it's too bad. I might know that.
I'm going to be there in spirit and win that gymnastics competition.
I assume you're going to Superman.
It's too bad because I might know the judge that's going to be there for the youth, but you'd be in a different category. So.
I'm young at heart.
Thank you. Any other new councillor business? Oh, all right. Next, adoption of minutes, 6.1 minutes of the public hearing held on February 23rd, 2026 for adoption. Councillor Sudnick, second Councillor McDonald. I'll call that to vote. You want to do it manually? Okay. Vote is closed and it's carried. Do you need a couple minutes, Tab, or are you? Okay. Next, 6.2, we have minutes of regular meeting of council on February 23rd, 2026 for adoption. Councillor Kemp, second. Councillor Apollonio. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed, and that's carried. Any business arising? No? I'm just going to take a 5-minute break before we get into correspondence here. All right, I'd like to call our regular council meeting for Monday, March 9th back to order. Next order of business was 8 correspondence. 8.1, we have the 2026 Union of BC Municipalities Annual Membership Dues Invoice. Councillor Parslow.
I move that we authorize payment of the annual fee for UBCM of $9,218.29.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion.
I'm amazed at the population estimate for the city, the population estimate, which has been calculated using the 2025 release of estimates made by BC Stats of 13,635. That's about 1,000 more than I thought we'd be at. So I was wondering if what stats look like for our other communities, Fort St. John and so on.
Yeah. Councillor Earl said he could speak to it. So go ahead, Councillor Earl.
So this is one of my hobby horse issues. There's an ongoing disparity between what Statistics Canada says for our population and what BC statistics say. According to the 21 census population of Dawson Creek, we're at about 12,300. That'll obviously change with the upcoming census this year. But the province of BC, at any given time over the last 5 years, depending on their numbers, have had us about 1,000 to 1,500 above that. Now, I've asked various people, as the opportunity has arisen within those governments, how they would explain that difference. Their answer has always been vague and unsatisfying. Some of them refer to healthcare catchment areas, but don't necessarily go into that. But yeah, there's a possibility we're paying a higher fee than we should based on BC numbers, but you know, then you have to flip back to the side that our fair share funding or Peace River Agreement funding is predicated upon this 13,600, so we might not want to argue too forcefully. It would, however, be nice if the federal and provincial government could figure out where that 10% of the population, whether it exists or not, because I feel like that has some implications for the provision of services and funding.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Okay. I think did I have a second? Oh, yeah, I already did. Yeah, Councillor. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 8.2, we have a letter from Judy Eagles, Principal, Dawson Creek Secondary School, received on February 24th, 2026, regarding the request to host the 2026 graduation ceremony, Grad, and Prom in the Ovintiv Event Center. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that we grant this request.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Kempf. Discussion. Anything, Councillor McDonald? No? Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to staff, just to confirm, this request is consistent with previous year's requests with respect to amounts and all that good stuff.
Yeah, through your worship, correct. It is. I think this year is just 2% over what last year was.
Okay, and this sponsorship request generally doesn't hit our grants budget, correct? Because it's going through the event center?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
so we just issue a paper credit to the event center.
And this is one of our free rentals for the year, so there's not.
Yeah, this is one we've been doing, I think, since the building is opened.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the confirmation.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow.
One of the things I always strive for is consistency, but maybe I'm missing something. At some recent council meetings, we determined that requests, whatever their nature, should be referred to OVG, who then would liaise with the city administration. So we see, unless there's some technical details that I'm not aware of, why are we suddenly abandoning that establishment that was made within the last few months?
Yeah, so through your worship, they have liaised, as have we. We've been in communication with the event center staff. I think this letter comes to you because the school district has sent it every year for the last number of years. We've talked internally since the discussion on the previous items that have come, and I think what staff is, we're suggesting is we're just going to develop a policy. I think there's probably a couple of events annually that should probably be identified. It's just, I'll call them automatic, this being one of them. So we'll get that in front of council when we can get that policy put together.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. You got to push your button, Councillor. Actually, you did that yourself, so yeah, you did. So
Well, I know it's quite within your capacity to cut me off.
yeah, I don't want you to mark that in the calendar because you clearly did that one yourself. So, but if you push your button again, I likely might turn it on. If
Well, with the context of part of my comments were related to the Northern Lights College grad, and I just think if you're going to be looking at 2 or 3 things that might be automatic, we might want to bring that before council, because I would like to see at least, unless this new facility that's coming in place at the college will meet their needs, but I'd like to see, in addition to the high school grad, the college grad being, but that again should be discussed with the college president or his delegate to see what they're going to be doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. You notice you shut your mic off?
I did.
Okay.
It's a habit. I don't like to speak too much.
Any other discussion? All right, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and I believe it was carried. It flashed fairly quick, but yes, carried. Next, 8.3, we have a letter from Kim Haakstad, President and CEO of BC Council Forest Industries, received on February 26, 2026, regarding a request for official endorsement of forestry as a solution. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. And I'd like to move that we do grant the request of official endorsement to the Forestry as a Solution campaign.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Sudnick. Discussion.
I just wanted to point out that we do have a very wonderful member of the community in LP that is working here and struggling through permitting processes, tariffs, et cetera, and I feel it is important that we give our full support to LP and their industry and our full advocation to support them and continue them in a healthy, productive work industry environment.
Perfect. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, Councillor McDonald, for bringing this to our attention. I'm just wondering, and I mean, looking over the materials is great, but what is what value is our official endorsement to the campaign or the solution? We're not being asked for any resources, I guess, above and beyond maybe Melissa providing some boosting, and then I guess potentially our signatures when the opportunity arises, because it looks like they're looking to collect signatures. But how is our endorsement going to be used?
Well, I think it's like their asks that I see in there is about just endorsing that their Forestry is a Solution campaign. Yeah, and then it talks about the support for government, but then also, some marketing of that, I guess, to share that campaign around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with the sentiments expressed by my colleague, and with respect to additional emphasis by the province in righting the ship for the forestry industry. But I was hoping for a bit more detail with respect to, is there, obviously there's the public facing part of this campaign, which is advocacy and in the slides and things shown. But I assume there's also going to be a lobbying component or government engagement piece that we're, so if there are particular policy prescriptions that our endorsement is going to be supporting, it'd be nice to know what we're doing.
You good, Councillor Earl?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. So in response to Councillor Earl's question, and now this is my assumption, please, but, like when we give our support to, say, CAP or any of the other industry coalitions, it's just adding our voice to the collective so that they can say, these forestry communities are all together supporting the Forestry as a Solution campaign, right? We are just another signatory on the advocacy work done by Kofi or done by CAP, et cetera.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next, 8.4, we have a letter from Mark Sutton, owner, Firefly Adventures Corp., received on February 26, 2026, regarding a request to land helicopter at 2026 Prom. Councillor Parslow.
I move that we approve this request subject to all safety concerns being reviewed by the CA, well, what are you, the Chief Administrative Officer, CA?
CAO, yeah. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion.
Well, I think this, one of the things I always enjoy about the Grad is not necessarily the Grad ceremony, which it stretches out way too long for me, but the arrival of the Grads. And I think this is kind of nice to see, and Mark has that capacity, and I like to see us support his wishes in delivering his daughter, is it?
Granddaughter. Granddaughter, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Parslow. Other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote.
We should just ask for a helicopter
Vote is-
right after the fact.
I think Councillor Parslow was maybe doing that. There was some hidden agenda there.
Might just be dropped off somewhere.
Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 8.5, we have a letter from Brad Sperling, Chair of the Peace River Regional District, received on March 2nd, 2026, regarding land sale agreement, PRRD Administrative Building. Councillor Parslow.
Well, I'm tempted to say quite a few things, but I think in the interests of the city, I would like us to execute this as expediently as possible. So the ask is the completion of this phase, which is really the transfer of ownership of land. So I move that we initiate this phase of land transfer as expeditiously as possible.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Second, Councillor McDonald. Conversation, discussion? No? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 8.6, we have a letter from Gerritt Lacey, Solid Waste Manager with Peace River Regional District, received on March 2nd, 2026, regarding the Peace River Regional District Solid Waste Network Assessment Project Phase 1 engagement. Okay. Councillor Parslow, thank you.
I move that we acknowledge receipt of this correspondence.
Thank you. Second. Councillor Earl, discussion.
Well, I'm basically saying we receive it. I have no desire. I don't know of anybody else to participate on behalf of the community in this survey. I think they should be contacting individuals in the business community and cross-section, but I just didn't see any role for us to respond to it. Unless we consider to be experts on landfill stations, I have no expertise in that area.
Yeah, I think part of it too is just that they're launching this, so for us to get this out. So I did fill out the survey, so yeah. So.
As a business owner.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I did. So, yeah, and as a board director at the regional district. So, Councillor Earl.
I guess just a question through to staff, Your Worship. Is there, does the city, staff who might be interested provide any feedback on behalf of the city with respect to what our concerns are? Or is that a different avenue?
Yes, so through Your Worship, I went through and filled out the survey, but really from a user perspective, and in my opinion, that's kind of how the survey is put together. It's not really meant for, as I see it, the concerns of a corporation like ours. It's more of an individual. So I think we can certainly encourage the community to access it and fill it out from their perspective, and I think that's the information they're looking for. As far as input regarding, that we may bring forward as a corporation, there's technical committees and things that are set up through the solid waste committee and all that, that's kind of how you funnel that information in there, typically.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 8.7, we have a letter from Maureen Pinkney, Mayor, District of 100 Mile House, received on March 3rd, 2026, regarding a request for support resolution to strengthen rural health care. Councillor Sudnick.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move we support these resolutions as requested.
Thanks, Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor Apollonio, discussion. Councillor Earl.
Just for clarification, because this is suggesting that this policy or advocacy piece is going to make its way through to NCLGA, are we being asked to be a sponsor of it as it appears on the plenary agenda thing? Or is it just a matter of us, as those who are going to be attending NCLGA, are committing to support it as we vote in that session? Sorry, I'm not trying to be litigious. I just want to...
No, I think that's a very good question.
Just looking for some clarification on what we envision the intent of this to be, because I don't think it requires much in the way of staff other than a letter saying we voted in support of it, but we're still showing up, presumably to vote in favor of it at NCLGA for those who are attending.
I guess you could add to the motion how you see it.
I'm not going to NCLGA, so you guys.
Well,
I'm asking you guys what you want.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow.
Well, I think we should ask that question. Councillor Earl's question should be directed to our resident expert on NCLGA, who is going to be attending that meeting. So how does he propose handling this?
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. I'll pass it over to Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I think Councillor Earl brings up a really good point here, and I think the letter from 100 Mile House here is actually kind of vague on their ask. The ask is for support and advocacy at, I would believe, at NCLGA. They did not ask us to co-sponsor said resolution at all. So for me, it would be that, as Councillor Sudnick said, that we will support it at NCLGA and vote in a positive manner for those of us that are there, that we will raise our cards and support.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Heard any other discussion? Councillor Earl.
Sorry, just an added piece of context, because we do have some people in the gallery and maybe some people watching at home. The acronym NCLGA is North Central Local Government Association. We are a member alongside North Central local governments throughout BC, and it is one of the ways we get policies and initiatives that are important to our interests in front of eventually our provincial counterparts, is we filter them through these organizations to build support.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Well, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next, 9 reports. We have 9.1, report number 26-029 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the 2026 Draft 3 budget. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 26-029 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2026 Draft 3 budget be received. Further, that Council approve the 2026 Draft 3 budget as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Kempf. I have a second. Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? Councillor Earl.
Just through you to staff, you guys want to, well, before you have the chance, maybe up the fuel budget in there? Since that's changed over the last week, or are we still confident in that?
Thanks, Councillor Earl.
Yeah, through your worship, that's a good question, and it's going to be volatile, and
Sorry, I'm not trying to be
so we're not
proud.
changing anything at this point.
All right.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. I just wanted, Councillor Parslow, go ahead.
So the material under the heading deferred motion is interesting, and I'm not really free to talk about it as it relates to certain contract issues. So what you're saying, basically, whilst there's some outstanding issues, Council has acknowledged that no savings would be realised in the 2026 budget. So whilst there may be changes, the budget amount will not really be impacted by any decisions. That's the assumption you're making.
And Melissa?
Through your worship, that's correct. That's the assumption that the draft 3 budget is made on. We're late in the budget process, and I know we're still waiting on reports, and so a budget is an assumption, and so that's what it's based on. But I just wanted to continue to remind council of items that were outstanding from draft 1, and this is one of them.
So going to the section revenue adjustments, what is the potential Hockey Canada opportunity? Because I've always found those things actually cost us money.
We can't, are you talking about what the actual event is?
Yeah, it says potential Hockey Canada opportunity.
Yeah, we're unable to discuss that right now.
Sorry?
We're unable to discuss that right now.
I see.
Yeah, that'll come in a
But
future.
we're going to include it in our budget.
Because we approved that in our budget, because we've had talked about it at a prior
Is that right?
in-camera session, yeah.
Was I there?
I can't remember if you were there.
Physically.
Yeah,
I see.
but Melissa wanted to add something, so I will.
So through your worship to Councillor Parslow, it is an increase in revenue, but there is a corresponding increase in expense as well. So the net impact is 0 in the budget. And we have made money in past previous Hockey Canada events. And so
right?
it all is going to depend on advertising, ticket sales, et cetera. But right now it's being budgeted as a net 0 impact, but was added to just reflect the most accurate guess right now for the budget.
Yeah. Thanks, Melissa.
So one last question. I can't find it here, but I can talk to it. It's in this document somewhere. You talked about percentage increase in taxes. The 1% for the capital asset planning, that fund that we're hoping to achieve, so we, in 2040, we will be in a good position for managing our capital asset plan. That's embedded in the 5-point-something%, right? Or is that an additional levy?
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, that is within the percent that's noted in the report. So you could state with the 5.45%, 4.45 is funding the general budget, but that extra 1% is going directly to the asset management reserve. And for 2026, that amount is $454,000 that's going to get transferred directly to that that reserve. And you might think, okay, well, that's not equal to the 1%, but because we're compounded now that it's been 2 years, that's why it's at that amount.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. You were done?
For now, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank
I
you.
might come back to you.
Councillor Earl?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll take Melissa's explanation at face value. I would also highlight that within that remaining 4 point whatever percent in increase, a few $100,000 of that are being directed back into capital instead of operations. So you could make the argument that the bulk of the increase is dedicated towards capital. The 1% is specific to, I guess, the understanding gleaned from the tangible capital asset management plan, but increases in recent years have largely been with an eye towards reducing operational dependence on Peace River Agreement money. So in that sense, it's chiefly going towards capital in general. I guess, yeah, I just wanted to extend a thank you to staff for your work. I feel like this budget in particular has been challenging because there are, as you noted, a few unknowns and a lot of moving targets, whether we're talking about, it seems like, whether it's nonprofits we deal with, whether it's service providers we deal with, everybody who was hit hard by recent years' inflation all landed upon the idea to increase our costs for doing business with them. And we're struggling to absorb that while at the same time maintaining our commitment to address the capital infrastructure deficit in the community. So thank you for your work in trying to thread that needle with us. And thank you to members of the public who provided feedback. And yeah, that was all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Just before we move on, I wanted to, talk a little bit about the budget. It is the single biggest thing that we deal with as a council and a city team. And we understand, the pressures that all of our residents face when it comes to this. And I want to thank this council. This was out of the I guess 5 or 6 budgets that I've been in, like this, we had some long days and a lot of discussion around this budget and how do we minimize the impact to our residents while looking after protecting the future of our community and our assets. And I strongly believe this council has done a phenomenal job and in that moving forward as well with the city team. It's been amazing in every aspect, working with everybody and continuing to push this forward. I also want to thank our community. I believe, in the short time that I've sat here, I've had a lot more interaction with community on our budget, and it's just an amazing thing to see. So whether that's us getting out to the community and doing things, but it's definitely has more people talking and we're hearing a lot more information back, and that's the whole purpose of this. So it is to get as much engagement as we can. There's been some phenomenal things. I mean, nobody wants to see an increase, but considering the work we've done on recorrecting the PRA spending, we haven't increased our debt in the last 3 years, but we're speaking specifically to this budget. Our asset management program, the things we're doing in capital to protect our facilities and our assets. The list goes on the great things that I believe we've done. And I'm not saying it's perfect because there's always areas that we could look at efficiencies and improve. And we're always open to those discussions and exploring things. But I appreciate the effort that has went into this this year. And it's been a lot. There was some long days that we were in here. So just a thank you to everybody. And so thank you. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. One more, please. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.2, we have report number 26-042 from the Director of Communications and Digital Services regarding the official flag of the city of Dawson Creek.
Woo. Party
Right, there is another. We open this up for discussion first. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Yeah. Okay, I'll open it up. Yeah, I'll make that motion to discuss. Second, Councillor
I
McDonald.
wanted to do that.
Call that to vote. Sorry, Councillor Parslow, I did not mean to steal your thunder there. Vote is closed and it's carried. All right. Councillor Parslow.
Well, I found this recommendation kind of unusual, that staff is telling us which of the options we should adopt. So why were we told here's 3 options, but you should adopt this? Because usually we're asked to choose from the 3 options. So what is the passion around option C that you're trying to corral me to get in line with Melissa's preferences?
I can. You go ahead.
Sorry, through your worship, I was just going to say, when this first came up here, probably a couple of months ago, I think what I took away from it is that there was great interest in council about the particular colors. And so I think what Melissa is trying to do is she took that feedback, bringing a recommendation, but council's always able to go with that or pick an option or,
Yeah, changing weather, something might change, yeah.
Yeah.
So on a more serious note, I'm interested in knowing how the flag design will reflect some other icon draft stuff that we will do, with signage. I thought that I'm recalling a meeting where Councillor Kempf was the deciding vote, and I liked her vote as it agreed with me. So, we talked about that, right? So there's a serious threat to it. That decision where Amy's wise choice, is that reflected in the flag? Because I've lost the detail there. And more importantly, how does the flag design, is it going to be used, the one, let's say, to the left, going to be used with our Welcome to Dawson Creek's stuff that we were talking about previously, the entrance to the city, and other features? And, because I have my conservative streets. They're not big streets, but little streets. I see, I kind of like the old, and why would we be making the change, right? But if it aligns with that other decision that Councillor Kemp sort of entered the majority, maybe that's more reflective of the flag on the left. I need some guidance on that.
Melissa, would you like to?
Yeah.
I would love to answer. Through your worship to Councillor Barslow, thank you for the questions. I will first maybe take you on a slight little time travel trip to talk about the decision of this flag previously. So there was a committee formed for the 50th anniversary of the city, and that committee, one of their action items was to update the flag and have it formalized through the heraldic registry, which I know those 2 words are not very popular with this group right now. So that flag and that design was already approved by a committee who also did consultation during that process. So the reason that I recommended it in my report, although I did give you those options, is because that was the previous decision of a committee that was held in this room. And so I believe that it's my responsibility to let you know that there was this decision made. It just wasn't formalized in our flag policy, and the flag has not been flown yet. And to answer your other question about will this flag and the design affect any of our other design materials, I myself see this flag as being a standalone product for the city. So that we have several different products throughout our brand. I don't foresee this icon specifically taking over the city brand. The flag can be a separate symbol within the city's arsenal of brand packaging. And there was, I believe, an option in the gateway signage options that you saw when Ryan brought his report forward that had a similar look to this flag. That wasn't necessarily our intention, was to match those icons. And I believe that you, as a group, ended up choosing the opposite sign that didn't have that icon in it. So does that answer your question well enough?
Well, you can never do any wrong in my sight, you know that, right? So, on reflection, I find that podium, whatever you want to call it, on the flag on the left, meaningless. Whereas on the right, it's got our name and it's the mile zero of the Alaska Highway. And to me, just looking at the flag right now, I can understand the outline of why we would have the outline of the grain, sort of the grain elevator, but, to people, what the heck's that little part for in the middle? And it just seems so naked. And it's not an icon that anybody other than maybe some people might connect it to that. But so my initial reaction, it seems silly.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. If I recall where I landed on this conversation the last time we had, basically, that was the flag the committee came up with. It's less busy than that one, more elemental pieces. I like the yellow and the design. I was just looking to have the blue from that flag on that flag because that's consistent with all of our city color branding. Is that option C or B on this? Or is it some hybrid of those?
Through your worship to Councillor Earl, that would be option B, be if you would like to keep the colors of the flag on the right.
No, just the blue, not the yellow.
If you would like to keep just the blue, there is no option that says just the blue.
Because the yellow on this one is much more in keeping with something you'd look at like canola, which is presumably what we go for. And I cannot emphasize enough how much I did not run for public office to do graphic design. So I resent that Councillor Parslow is making me have this conversation at all. But if I had to choose, that would be my choice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Anybody like to make a recommendation? Councillor Earl.
I'll move that we maintain the new design with fidelity to the yellow on the blue design. And we have the blue from the previous flag used on the new design in keeping with the current color palette that we're accustomed to. Does that give you enough, Melissa? Do you know what I mean?
Sorry. Thanks, Councillor Earl. Okay, second, Councillor Kempf, discussion. Anybody? Well, Councillor Parslow?
Yes, I apologize. I'm not. So the colours are meaningless to me because I'm colourblind. They're not so, but so that's fine. Whatever Jeremy said about colour is fine. But I've lost which flag were you? You were going to the left flag?
Yes.
And maintaining that sort of empty thing on the yellow outline? Yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's a good decision.
Well, I don't imagine
For a change, I'm opposing Jeremy Earl.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. and Melissa for the presentation. I know this is like an arduous, yeah. Though sometimes I agree to, of course, Councillor Parslow's point. Yeah, for me, if I'm Dawson Creek, I know that's the mile zero post, but I'm not sure if there's a way that those Dawson Creek mile zero will be put on that or no, because of the heraldic thing.
Through your worship to Councillor Apollonio, I think if we truly needed to redesign a new flag, we could if that's what council wanted. But this design, both of these designs are existing, and they weren't created by my team. They were created previously. So if we were to start altering, we would have to go into probably a full design project.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Any other discussion? Well, I guess the other part, Melissa, could you just clarify, like where are the city Dawson Creek flags traditionally flowing at? Is it just on some of the city facilities?
Through your worship, that's correct. All city facilities have our flag flown. There are also several businesses in town that like to fly our flag. And then we also have a couple of different collectors that purchase flags.
Yeah, okay.
And then UBCM and NCLGA have
All the flags. Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. The motion is the one on the left. Oh, you're good, okay.
blue from the right.
Yeah. Vote is closed. It's carried, 2 opposed, Councillor Apollonio and Councillor Parslow. Thank you. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Just going to take a 5-minute break here. March 9th, 2026, back to order. Next order of business is 9.3. We have report number 26-016 from the Director of Development Services regarding recycling audit agreement. Councillor Parslow.
I move the report number 26-016 from the Director of Development Services recycling audit agreement be received. Further, that Council approve the recycling audit agreement with Obey Economic Society for an initial 3-year term from March the 1st, 2026 to February the 28th, 2029 at $79,746 for 2026, reflecting a 7% increase, and further that the agreement include a 2% annual CPI adjustment for 2027 to 2031, and authorize up to 2 additional 1-year renewal terms at the city's discretion.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. I have a second. Councillor McDonald. Discussion.
The 7% I learned is really a bit of a catch-up from 2022. There has been no increases since then, so it covers increased operating costs.
Which is mainly wages, I believe, right?
And fuel,
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why I support it.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. And I guess just in thinking on this issue, based on what Councillor Parslow said, there's been a number of instances over the last couple of years with organizations we contract with, in a contract renewal, coming back with a fairly significant jump, whether it's, transit or SPCA or what have you. And I appreciate moving forward, we're going to factor in some sort of CPI increase. But I guess with respect to how we're dealing with these organizations, to what extent are they responsible for just because, a 7% increase is very abrupt, and once again, when everybody comes for it at the same time, it wreaks havoc on our budget. So to what extent are we pushing back against these organizations and pointing out, if you were gonna sign a 5-year contract 5 years ago and you chose at that point not to negotiate a CPI increase, to come back 5 years later and say, well, now we need a 10 or 12% increase to make up for the CPI increase we didn't negotiate 5 years ago. To what extent are we pushing back and saying, well, no, that's on you as an organization to ensure that as you're budgeting and you're bidding on things, you're taking that into account? Because, while I appreciate the work they're doing, and you certainly don't expect anybody to lose money or shortchange themselves, this is not the first time we've had an instance like this occur, and we probably need to start, whether as we go into these agreements, you're negotiating the best value for residents, so you're not going to volunteer a CPI increase on the front end, because why would you? On the other hand, if they're not negotiating it on their end and then they're coming back for it at the end of the contract or in a renewal.
Yeah, through your worship, I mean, you've covered a lot of it there. I think the onus is on both parties. I think because it's not helpful for either party, and especially us, as you said, that we get the surprises after 5 years that, we need to readjust.
And we were guilty of that ourselves when I first came onto council in 2018. We were looking at a significant increase in fees because we hadn't had an increase since 2012 because council doesn't want to increase fees, right? It's not politically palatable to do, but the inevitable consequence of that is your costs still go up, and that money is, the subsidy then goes up. What you don't charge in fees, you're charging in the subsidy. So we did implement a CPI increase to the consternation of some people in the community, but it makes our budgeting a lot more stable and a lot more consistent.
Yeah.
And we need to be having that conversation with people on the front end, so we're not looking at a 7% jump or a 12% jump?
Yeah, through your worship, you're exactly right, and we are starting to do that. I think you're right with our utility fees and rec fees and all that. Nobody likes to get a 10% increase after 5 years. It's the recognition that costs escalate annually, and so it's easier to absorb if we have those CPI or 2% increases to try and manage that, so we don't get the radical fluctuations, at various times increments. So we're working on that on our end. I know Melissa, in finance, all of those things. And I think as we work with these groups, again, these groups, it's important that we work with them because they provide, not just this one, but a number of them provide a lot of services for us that we couldn't otherwise do, and especially at the value that they're providing. We couldn't do it for that price. So I think we just need to work with them, and I think just so there's no surprises.
Mm-hmm. And I guess one last follow-up, I note in the report, it says we're budgeting up to a yearly maximum. Has there been a year where they've come in under the maximum?
I'm not sure. I would ask Bill.
Thank you. And through your worship to Councillor Earl, they've typically been under the maximum each year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bi-weekly fee. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Melissa?
Through your worship to Councillor Earl, too, I think there's been times in the past where they might have vacancies in staff and not be able to audit on the schedule that's been agreed to. And so then obviously we're not going to pay when a service isn't being provided. So sometimes that's where you'll see it'll be up to. So I know that has happened in the past.
Okay. Thanks, Melissa. Councillor Parslow?
Yeah, a couple of comments. One about CPI. As Councillor Earl was speaking, I couldn't help reflect about the desire of the city to have CPI recognised as incorporated in the revenue stream from other local governments who pay us inadequately for services received by rural residents. That we want CPI to be built into any agreements where we are getting revenue from other agencies for services provided. This issue here around recycling, I think it was an unanticipated outcome that we had to engage somebody to do regular checking when recycling was begun. But one of the I just mentioned this because so many people talk about, recycling still and the inspection. But for us to be eligible for revenue from Recycling BC, is that the right name of the Recycling BC? Yeah. we have to have a low contamination rate. And so for us, I think it was over $200,000 we got as revenue because we met the contamination standards. And that is due in large part, I think, because this monitoring, and the communities got a bit of trained that things are followed up on. Whereas at the initial experience, we had all sorts of stuff being put into recycling, such as car batteries, for instance, as an example.
Wasn't there a deer head?
Yeah.
Deer head, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, it's a lot of people don't understand. We get revenue if we meet a standard, and we do meet that standard, and that offsets in spades this cost. But a lot of people still don't get it. I'm just sharing that with you. They don't understand it.
No, I appreciate you bringing it up because Tab put it up on the screen too. It would be $221,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a pretty small fee, and it goes to a great organization that gives provides work for individuals that do a great job. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 9.4, report number 26-036 from the Civic Properties and Facilities Manager regarding invitation to tender 2026-06 medical clinic exterior renovation. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 26-036 from the Civic Properties and Facilities Manager regarding invitation to tender 2026-06 medical clinic exterior renovation be received. Further, that council award the contract for ITT 2026-06 medical clinic exterior renovation to WL Construction for the tender price of $207,780, excluding GST.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Kemp. Discussion. Councillor Parslow.
Tyrone Watson is a new employee? I don't recognize that name. How long have they been working?
So through your worship, if you just look down to the end of the
He's right there.
Tyrone.
Hi, Tyrone.
Yeah.
We've never met, have we? How long have you been working for the city?
Just over a year.
Oh, gee.
Years roll.
We should have all new staff introduced. Well, is this your first report? I don't. No?
No.
Oh, must have missed your name. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for a very clear report and not too verbose, unlike some people.
Devin's not here.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow.
That's right.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. All right, any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 9.5, report number 26-037 from the Civic Properties and Facilities Manager regarding invitation to tender 2026-05 curling rink canopy and facility upgrades. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that report number 26-037 from the Civic Properties and Facilities Manager regarding invitation to tender 26-05 curling rink canopy and facility upgrades be received. Further, the council award ITT 2026-05 curling rink canopy and facility upgrades to C. Chandler Contracting, Celtic Construction Limited for the tender price of $308,102, excluding GST.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. Just a question through you to staff. And it's been a while since I looked at the curling rink lease agreement. They're providing it's consistent with some of the other agreements. As part of that agreement, they have the annual allocation for capital up to a certain amount, or is it ad hoc on a year-by-year basis?
So through your worship, we meet with the curling club annually. We talk about priorities. They have some, we have some. And then we try and fit that amongst all the other priorities based on what we have in that particular year is how we approach it.
Okay, so it's not like, I know with, the exhibition, if say you got allocated 150 grand a year over the next 3 years, so presumably it has to fit within that $450,000 envelope over a 3-year period.
Right. So no, there's no set amount annually. It's just ensuring that we have, the information we need, working with the group, and I mean that's really Ty's responsibilities to know the facilities and what those requirements are, and then we do facility audits and all that, and that's what drives it.
And then presumably as we're doing that, we're keeping some sort of tally when it comes to facilities operated by third parties are we keeping some sort of tally on how much we're spending on that facility year over year compared to, say?
Yep. We would have that information.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I guess for stuff like the work we did on the parking lot this year, is a portion of that allocated to the curling rink, or would it all fall under Memorial City?
Well, I mean, it's for those 3 facilities there, so we don't allocate it to particular facilities, just it's a parking lot.
Okay, just wondering. Thank
Part
you.
of the asset management, yeah. All right, thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, report number 9.6, report number 26-043 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding policy amendment financial reports to Council. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 26-043 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding policy amendment financial reports to Council be received. Further, the financial reports to Council policy be amended to remove the requirement for staff to present a receivables report to Council quarterly. And further that, following successful completion of the required 30-day review period, the amended financial reports to Council policy replace the existing financial reports to Council policy.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second. Councillor Kemp, discussion. You're good, Councillor?
Yeah, that's
okay. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.7, we have report number 26-046 from the Director of Development Services regarding establishment of a situation table. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. That's report number 26-046 from the Director of Development Services regarding establishment of situation table be received for discussion.
Thank you, Councillor Apollonio. Second, Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'll just open by saying I fully support the idea of this community having a situation table. I think it would be a great thing to bring together our different service groups working in a positive manner towards the stated outcomes in this very good report. But I'm very hesitant on us supporting the creation of yet another full-time equivalent staff member on our operating budget at this time. I think it's been highlighted by Councillor Parslow repeatedly that we have created 4 or 5 positions in our term this year, or this last 4 years, and I don't know if I'm prepared for us to support the creation of yet another position.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Parslow?
Yes, well, I'm not aware of any other situation table where the municipal government pays for this position. I am at a loss as to why that is being put forward when it's been held. Sometimes it's a rotating chair. It comes from existing. I fail to understand the reasoning behind the way this is being put forward to council. I've spoken with the staff person before about the fact that this is very unusual, And so I will be voting against this and saying sadly that if we still pursue this incorrect paradigm around a small community like Dawson Creek, hiring a staff with the main role for that person is just to facilitate the situation table, not this a plethora of other things that keep adding on. So I'm a bit appalled by this report, even though it's a thorough report, and I respect the individual who writes it. It should be a completely different paradigm. For instance, I know in the city of Fort St. John, the chair for the first year, or maybe the second year, I forget, was my friend Edward Stanford of Urban Systems. And so anyway, I cannot support any staff increases and costs, but I also very concerned about the direction of this report in that, given all the things that have been included. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Parslow. Go ahead, Kevin.
So through your worship, so we were asked to bring back, reach out, do some research, and come back with some information to council. So that's what our intent was. The recommendation was for discussion because we knew that there would be some vibrant discussion on the idea of this. The reality is the information that we received, right or wrong, talking with various folks, was that municipal leadership is important, and that they see these situation tables be more successful if it is, for the lack of a better word, centralized and run by the municipality. I concur. I have no interest in hiring more people and taking on another function, but we were asked to bring back information, so that's what we did. There's a number of options that council can consider, and that was our intent, is to put that in front of you, and everything from leave it the way it is, or defer to next year, or everything in between. So again, I think Bill did an excellent job of pulling all that information together, and we weren't necessarily going one way or the other, but just wanting to make sure it's all there.
Thanks, Kevin. Councillor Earl.
Thank you. I wasn't going to be as critical of Bill as my colleague was. I think it is a very good report. I am of a similar mind, though. I've struggled in recent years. I understand, as the front line of government and as the people closest to the epicenter of public disorder when it happens, that municipalities are an important part of this conversation. I've also seen how in recent years the province and the federal government have incrementally abdicated their responsibility and offloaded more and more and more of this onto us. Right? There's an intersection between law enforcement, policing, community safety, social work, healthcare, mental health, addictions treatment, and housing. And while we should be a part of that conversation, all those services fall under the responsibility of other levels of government. So I'd be very, very opposed to us further enabling and codifying a dynamic where we absorb this as either a function or appeared to be giving the province our assent or tacit endorsement by taking this on ourselves. Because as we've seen, whether it's healthcare or what have you, we get into these things with the best of intention, and then before you know it, you're at rung 2 of the ladder, rung 3 of the ladder, rung 4 of the ladder, and the province and the various crown corporations under them are always happy to push more off onto us. And it not only is the financial burden not sustainable for us, but it also muddies the water in the eyes of the public with respect to whose responsibility it is to provide these services. Right? And, I always say to people, it's not that we don't care about healthcare or education, it's that you already paid your taxes to another level of government to provide those. We also don't have a municipal navy. It doesn't mean we don't care about national defense. So, the more money we put into these things, the less resources we have for, everything else we're responsible for, be it recycling, be it road maintenance, be it facility upkeep. So I do appreciate this report. I would like to explore and I realize that there's, challenges with asking either volunteers to sit on these committees or a local organization like Spickers or Nowakin or what have you to lead these roles. I know they do have funding available for providing services if they apply for grants and things of that nature. But I think if there's going to be staff time above and beyond a meeting or two a month allocated to this, that we look to third-party organizations to take on that leadership role, because as imperfect as it is, it doesn't result in us, expanding once again our offerings in a way that is going to undermine our ability to deliver all our other services.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Through you to staff, I'd like to move option 5, but I wanted to confirm when this group spoke to staff to get the grant funding they were looking for, did the grant application have to come through the municipality? Or Councillor Parslow might know the answer to that.
Go ahead, Bill.
Through your worship to Councillor McDonald, yes, the grant had to come through the municipality. And the grant application deadline was the end of March.
End of March? Okay, so with option 5 there, we're just applying for the grant so that the establishment of the situation table can happen and a third party can lead. And hopefully they would like to apply to Councillor Parslow to take on that lead after his retirement from council.
Are you moving all of that in your motion?
I'd like to move option number 5 there, the report number 26-046 from the Director of Development Services regarding establishment of a situation table be received. Further, the council directs staff to apply for available provincial funding to support the implementation and training required for a situation table. And further, staff explore engaging in an external agency to lead and coordinate the situation table and associated training contingent upon a successful grant application.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Sudnick. Discussion.
Again, right, I believe a situation table in the community would be a huge benefit to the community. There's a true desire for it. I know there's been multiple attempts to begin this. Yeah, I'd like to see it succeed. So if we can help them with the grant application and get them the training they need to have a successful situation table in the community, I'd like us to support it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Councillor McDonald, any other discussion? Yes. Councillor Parslow?
First of all, I want to express my appreciation for what my colleague, Councillor Earl, said. He's right on the money there. I had no intention at all in the city. Well, if the city was to establish this position, you would be getting yourself into a whole area of expectations that I don't think any municipal government should get themselves into. My intention always was that we apply for the Provincial Situation Table Implementation Grant. People get trained, you'll get the software. It would be up to the people who are trained from our different agencies to assume the leadership. As simple as that. But we do have lots of social problems like every community. Yep. It's been found to be workable. It does take some leadership, but that should come from the social service sector and should not be the responsibility of the city. So I really appreciate what Councillor Earl Davis has overview. I totally concur with him and appreciate Councillor McDonald's motion.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.8, we have report number M26-048 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding memo for local government engagement in DRIPA implementation NCLGA resolution. Councillor Earl?
Need me to read out the whole thing starting at whereas, or should I just go, therefore be it resolved?
The recommendation.
Okay. I'll move the recommendation that report number M-26-048 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding local government engagement in DRIPA implementation and CLGA resolution be received. Further, Council approve the following resolution and authorize its submission to the North Central Local Government Association for consideration prior to the resolution deadline of March 13th, 2026.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion.
I mean, I know this was a hot topic at last year's UBCM, and I think, we've all expressed frustration, and I'm highlighting this is chiefly to do with our counterparts in the provincial government and how they've communicated these issues and discussions to us and our opportunity for input and feedback as the front line of government. So I think it's a good subject to emphasize and highlight, and we can discuss it more at NCLGA.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? We'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, next 9.9, we have report number M-26-049 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding memo, improved access to publicly funded mental health services NCLGA resolution. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. Excuse me. I'd like to remove that report number M-26-049 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding improved access to publicly funded mental health services. NCLGA resolution be received. Further, the Council approve the following resolution and authorize its submission to the North Central Local Government Association prior to the resolution deadline of March 13th, 2026. I would also like to add that we send this resolution out to the other municipalities in the Peace River District, South Peace and North Peace, to ask them if they'd like to be co-sponsors with us for this resolution.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Kemp. Any discussion?
I think this is a massively good resolution that my fellow council members came up with when I was not here. I hugely support it. I commend you all for it. It's a great movement forward. And I think if we do send it out to other communities for co-sponsorship, it will strengthen the resolution and help it get moved forward at UBCM when it makes it to UBCM.
Thank you. Councillor Parslow.
Yes, absolutely agree. It's incumbent, I think, on the provincial government also to recognize that we need to have some low training here in the north, because attracting people from other parts of the populated area of the province to the northeast is very difficult. I think there's some good examples of local training at the college or UBCM for teacher training and for nursing training. We need to have something complementary also for mental health support workers at the very least. So that local people, we've got lots of people with talent, they just need training, can access it readily. So I'm not going to muddy the water and put amendments. I'm just maybe it can be talked about at NCLGA, local training. And I think by local in this instance, I'm talking Northeast. I'm not talking Prince George. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next, 10 bylaws. 10.1, we have report number 26-031 from the city planner regarding official community plan bylaw number 4620-2025 for consideration of third reading and adoption. It's on page 12. You're welcome. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 26-031 from the city planner regarding official community plan bylaw number 4620-2025 be received. Further, that the official community plan bylaw number 4620-2025 be given third reading and adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Kempf. Do I have a second? Councillor Apollonio, discussion. I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 10.2, we have report number 26-023 from the city planner regarding zoning bylaw number 4625-2026 for consideration of first and second reading. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 26-023 from the city planner regarding zoning bylaw number 4625-2026 be received. Further, that zoning bylaw number 4625-2026 be given first and second reading.
Thank you, Councillor Kempf. Do I have a second? Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? Councillor Earl.
Not necessarily a question, but I just wanted to thank staff for the work they've done on the zoning and the community plan stuff over the last little bit. I know they were thrown some curveballs by the feds and the province when they came out with their new suite of housing regulations without a lot of necessarily preamble and discussion with those of us who are tasked with overseeing and enforcing it. So just, kudos to staff for rolling with the punches and explaining it to us in a manner that we as lay people could understand and hopefully articulate to the public.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 11, Mayor's Business. 11.1, Mayor's Updates. It's a few on here, and then I added a couple that I'll speak to as well. Just at a seniors roundtable in the last few weeks. Just always enjoy that. It's usually every 2.5 months, 2 to 3 months to just meet with a group of seniors that come in. Just really, it is a roundtable. We talk about a lot of different things, a lot of the things that we've been working on as council. With the opportunity to discuss things they're hearing, questions they have. So I've been doing it for since pretty much being in this role. So it's been great, and I appreciate all of them coming in each and every time. It's really nice to listen and share what we're doing as well. We met with Tourmaline Energy was in last week, I believe, and I just wanted to thank them for taking the time and thank council as well for those that were there. But thank them for taking the time to come in and really just share their story with us and educate us. There's lots of exciting things going on in their world. So it's really nice to have them come in and share that with us. So I just wanted to thank them and council for that. Peace River Regional District, we had a couple board meetings within the last few weeks. One was around our budget. So we've initially approved that budget. It'll get finalized in an upcoming meeting. At that, I did present on our sub-regionals, so I just wanted to speak to that a little bit for those that are listening, the public. But we presented a sub-regional. We've been dealing with that for about 3 years. There was an initial agreement in place, and there yeah, there's just a lot of things that have come with that. I mean, the gist of it is sub-regional and recreation and cultural facilities in the city of Dawson Creek are cost the city about $10 million annually, which 30% plus of usage from those facilities comes from regional district and or other surrounding areas. And out of, sorry, oh, okay. No, it's okay. And out of that, we receive $1 million from the Peace River Regional District for the sub-regional requisition, which covers about 10%. So we strongly believe there's some inequity to our residents, and we've been advocating hard to push that forward. So I presented it at the board. It was a long discussion. There was a lot of information back and forth. I felt that I spoke to everything very well. And that's not a pat on the back to me. It's a pat on the back to the city team that has provided me the information and has educated me in all of it, because the bylaw, all of it, there's a lot to it. So there's no way I could have done that without their support. So. But yeah, it turned out that it didn't get approved. There was discussion of the MOU that was put on the table 3 years ago that we've had numerous meetings around, that we get back to the table and finalize that. So that's kind of where the next steps are in that. But I just wanted to give a bit of an update to the public on that. I also wanted to touch on, yesterday was International Women's Day. So it's an opportunity to recognize the leadership and dedication and contribution of women in our region, but also in our organization. Just a thank you to the many talented women at the City of Dawson Creek, not even just the City of Dawson Creek, those that are in this region, that are committed to helping make our region stronger every day. And it's very noticeable. Not even just my time here, but just in business and my time in the Peace Country, to see how much women have grown in that and have contributed to moving forward our region and our community and leadership at multiple different levels at different organizations. So I just wanted to recognize that today. As well, Councillor Earl brought up just the nominations that we've done. So I was going to speak to them a bit here, so thank you for bringing that up. But just the Dawson Creek has been nominated for two awards for the 2026. One is the Sport Tourism Canada Prestige Award for hosting the 2025 Para Cup. And then the other one is for the Sports Tourism Canada Prestige Awards. Am I reading those right? The International Sports Event of the Year, Group B, and then the Sports Event Legacy of the Year. I got a little confused on that, but both nominations highlighted the impact of the 2025 Para Cup. So I think it's important that we, one, we speak to this, but one, that we're recognized for this. These are pretty big awards, and we're up against some pretty big municipalities. So for us as a community this size, to be recognized for this, it's just a shout out to our organization and our region, because these events are not possible without our region coming together. And it's been clear on the two events that this council's been part of with Hockey Canada that this region is behind it, and we get full support all the time. So just a great honor to be recognized for these, and we'll find out this week how we turn out. But even just being nominated has been huge. So, any questions on any of those? No? All right. Next, 11.2, we have the delegation request from the Dawson Creek Sportsman Club. But do we need to do anything there? Because they've said that they're going to come back in September and present for the 2027 budget. So there's no real request today.
Yeah, Your Worship, if they're going to come back, then I think you're fine. I was going to suggest you just move it to budget, but if they're going to come back, they'll be in front of you just at that time, so it'd be perfect.
I think we'd wait till they come back, just in case some things have changed. So, okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Parslow.
Just a couple of comments, just for my colleagues, and maybe everyone should know. Apart from Kurt Peats' very strong background to handle the gun club, Grad Burgess is a world-class shotgun participant, internationally recognized. So to have those two assets now in the club and in the community leading this with Tiange, who's such a marvelous resource guy for any building projects. It's a very strong team. It's great for the community to have those guys volunteering their time.
Yeah, thank you. I'd also like to recognize yourself, because I know you're a big
Behind the
portion
scenes,
of
yes.
that. But your value that you bring has also helped. So
Well, they bring credibility to the actual shooting
Yeah.
sports. Whilst I'm probably the best shot on council here, I don't compare to those guys.
I'm not going to open that part up for discussion. So thanks for throwing that one in there. Next, we did have there was a bit of a delegation request from the BC Rural Health Network. So there is an ask for some additional funding on top of our annual fee. So I don't know if if council has a direction or. Councillor Parslow?
Well, what caught my attention was the rural municipality of the North Rockies had given a donation. I don't know if there was for specific asks of work, right? I'm not sure. It was just a general.
Yeah, I think they're kind of open to any amount of donation. There was no, the original, there was no like direct ask on, it was just for donations.
Yeah.
In addition to the membership.
Yeah. Well, I'm always persuaded a little more if we know what's your strategic plan, what are your goals, and what is your budget. I mean, I know again, this has probably been led largely on volunteer time, right? But you know what I mean. Just an open check is something I'm not generally in favour of.
Yeah.
But I do think the work needs to be nurtured. But if they had some specific work that needs funding, I think we should look at it, but not just as a open check. That's just where I'm feeling it right now.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. All right. Yeah, if there's no direction, that's fine. So, okay. All right. We will move on to 12, the Chief Administrative Officer Operational Update.
Good morning. A couple of quick updates. Water. We are in a pretty good spot right now. We're able to continue to withdraw from the Kiskadna our daily demand. So we're not losing in the reservoir, so that's good news. We still sit at about 172 days conservatively of water stored, so that's good news. Reservoirs range between 90 and 100% full, so again, we're in a good spot. Snowpack in the Kiskadna, as of last week, approximately 50 centimeters of compact snow up in the watershed. Of course, varies in different spots, but that was where we were in the Hourglass area. The good news is I think that snow had settled, so even with the warm weather we saw on the weekend, hopefully we didn't lose too much of that. So speaking of the weekend weather, as we all know, we had warm temperatures, significant wind, both evenings, quite the melt on Saturday. So the wind itself, I don't think caused us too many issues. We have some trees, we have signs, we have things like that, which would be expected. The power outage, I'm told, has created some challenges for us in some facilities and may have damaged some equipment just with the surge or however it happened. So we're working on that, and we'll be figuring out what the extent of that is. The melt, Saturday we saw a significant melt and a lot of water running. I'm not told of any major issues. Yes, we have ditches full. We have there's water laying in some areas, and especially now because it refroze solid. So it slowed the progress there, but not aware of any, that were threatening properties or anything like that. So that's good news, because I was concerned about how warm and windy it was that day. But if there's anything out there, I was just going to share, if anybody sees signs or, trees, danger trees or anything like that, please call in and report that, because we may not be aware. We rely on folks to let us know sometimes, so that would be helpful. And I think next week we start our core recertification, which is our safety program. So just our dedication to safety, and I thank Jamie and the team and really everybody involved. And so we'll be going through that in the next few weeks. So questions?
Thanks, Kevin. Councillor Parslow.
Well, I have a statement first and then a question. I was in Fort St. John at a major event on Saturday, and I have never seen such a mess caused by, I'm suggesting, it was heavy melting obviously going on, but I think it was compounded by the fact that they do not do, in my opinion, the cleaning of their roads and dealing with their snow issues anywhere close to what we do. I could not conceive us ever having the mess that hundreds of people had to deal with in trying to access a major hotel in Fort St. John. Now, it was the car park, it was an absolute mess. You would have thought they would have cleaned it up for the event, but the roads approaching it were just terrible. I've never seen anything close to that in Dawson Creek. So I guess saying that we've done a much better job than our neighbours in reducing the impact of these melting is going to happen one time in the year or another. So I guess I'm sharing with you, Kevin, the appreciation for the preparatory work that's done, the anticipation. When I left Dawson Creek, it may not have been city employees, it may have been other employees, but steam cleaning out culverts, whereas as we experienced on the highway to Fort St. John, major flooding, and flooding in Fort St. John with no seeming interventions at all. So I'm giving you and your staff a big check of appreciation. And I think the community, there's always going to be complaints, but I think it's been inexpensive, but a lot of the work that you do in anticipation of weather events or taking care of the fact we don't clear it one day because in 3 days we're going to get, so I really appreciate that management. It's difficult, but I think it's been well done. I do have not a concern, mate, but I'm just wondering what is your thinking about us? I know all plans are capable of being changed, but the big worry, which I've shared before at similar meetings, is about our secure water line. The permanent water line to the Peace. And I know it's very difficult to nail things exactly, but I just wondering at some time, could we have at a committee the whole a chat about what are our obstacles to getting this done? What do we need to set aside in anticipation? Where are we at with that? Because again, good management. We're limping our way through this water system but it's all temporary Band-Aid stuff, isn't it? And I'm not denigrating the importance of the work that's been done, but it's not anywhere near dealing with our problem.
Yeah.
It's enabling this to continue, right? But we do have an Achilles heel here with our water supply. Are we just waiting for other agencies? Or are we waiting for the feds to show initiative, or the provincial or the regional district?
You bet.
I just like to know that we've got a plan and have some regular reports
You betcha.
on it.
Yeah, so through your worship, first, thank you. I will certainly pass that along to staff. I agree. I think everybody did a good job in anticipating this warm weather. Were there a few streets that probably still could use a little bit of work? Sure. But overall, I think, it was great. Secondly, the water. Yes, Devin and I were talking. We've been working behind the scenes. Tomorrow, he and I are going to Fort St. John. We're having a regional water discussion with municipalities and First Nations, just not specifically to our issue, but we're not the only ones with issues. So it's really talking in a regional context of are there opportunities? It's that initial conversation to see if there's any synergies and, further to explore. But we've been working on other things in the background, and I know Devin is planning to bring a report, and it can certainly be in the committee of the whole style, which was really to walk through where we're headed. Well, we have a work plan. We know the steps we need to take in the coming months, and why. So we can certainly go through that and discuss, what that is and where we hope that leads us. So that I know Devin had even hoped that he would have that to this meeting, but it didn't work out. So we're close to having that to council. So it'll be in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? You said you only had one. I don't know if Kevin's prepared for another one.
He's up to it. It doesn't really hit the city.
Go ahead,
So
Councillor
seriously, from time to time, because of frost and so on, we have a significant deterioration of roads. I'm just flagging the fact that the main highway, which is provincial, through the Alaska Avenue, I've noticed last night leaving a restaurant, well-appointed restaurant, close to some gyms. The road condition on the highway is such that I think it's going to be damaging tires. So I just want to flag that because I think there's going to be some emergency repairs needed on some parts of the highway. I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but it could damage tires very easily.
I did get a report this morning about that one.
Sorry?
I did get a report from somebody this morning
Okay,
about the
thank
one on
you.
Alaska Avenue. There was a couple of really large
Yes.
holes, and
Yeah.
and again, this is
Amazing. I was really shocked how bad it was.
yeah, this is the challenge, and that we talk about, and we don't always succeed at. But the main culprit is water. So if you can get water to go where it's supposed to go, you will save your road surfaces. If you have puddles lying there and vehicles driving through it, it's only a matter of time before you create potholes. So get the water to go where it needs to be.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Thanks, Kevin. All right, next, 13 diary, nothing in the diary. 14 consent calendar, anybody want to lift anything? No, motion to accept. Councillor Kemp, second Councillor Earl. Call that to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. 15, media questions. 16, recess to close meeting. 16.1, resolution to move into meeting council closed to the public for agenda item 6.1, 7.1, 8.1, section 91J. Information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Agenda item 6.1, 7.1, 8.1, section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that, in the view of the council, could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. Agenda item 2.1, 6.2, 8.1, section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements if the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. And agenda item 7.1 and 8.1, section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations. Councillor McDonald, second Councillor Kemp, call that to vote. Vote is closed. Oh, never mind. Vote is closed and it's carried. All right, thank you, everyone. We'll take 5 or however long and go back and go into closed right away before lunch.